once again, and this is going to be another one of my how to make music with your computer cheap videos, low budget, on a budget, whatever. Now, this one is going to be about MIDI. Now, you can do this, and the best way to do it, the easier way, the more complete way to do it is to buy an MIDI keyboard, which basically lets you plug into your computer and then you can play just about anything. In fact, you can play anything that you can record. You can hook it in as part of a sound file through that and then play it back just like you would on a piano. But if you don't have the space or the money to go ahead and buy an MIDI keyboard, then you're kind of stuck doing it on your computer, which involves sequencing. Okay, now you can either use ones that allow you to play stuff in real time with a mouse, which you can with this. This over here. Now, I'm not going to pretend that I'm an expert on this. I've only recently gotten into this myself, but I can still show you how you can do this within Acid Music Studio. There's other programs that fulfill the same function, but Acid Music Studio does have it built in, along with your layering, multi-tracking, and all that stuff, which makes it easier. So basically what I'm going to do is just kind of show you how this works and keep it simple, really. So let's find a place to start. Okay. Way I can hear, you can hear, we can hear precisely what is going to be played before you start messing anything. And basically you just paint it in. So for example, say I just want to start on a nice C6 here. So, well, first you'd paint out how long it's going to be. This is only going to be a few seconds. Pull that in. Okay, so simple. Okay, now I've got a sequence here. It's just 3 little bits. Then we can do a variation. Say go up a note on each of them. Very simple. Okay, and now that I have a very simple sequence here, I can just copy. I'm not saying you have to do it like this, obviously. And then say take it over, copy, paste again, and say this time I want to take it up. Copy, paste again, regular tones. And this time I'm going to drop it down. Paste again. This time I'm going to do it normally. So now I have At this point you have the basic structure of any song, which is something that repeats, but not necessarily in the exact same way. The very essence of making a song, a piece of music, is repeating variations on one thing or a variety of things, depending on how you want to structure it. Take, for example, the 1812 Overture, one of my favorite pieces of music. Okay, it has maybe 4 or 5 bits that it repeats several times in variations, varying lengths, varying tempos, to get a masterpiece. Okay, so obviously I'm not trying to say that like this could be a masterpiece, but it is that, you know, that is the core of what a piece of music is. Let me turn this up some. Okay. So now I have this on piano. Now let's go ahead and do it as drums. Doesn't necessarily sound like anything at this point, but let's go ahead and duplicate it, and we're going to take, and instead of doing drums, we're going to use a synth pad. Let's just use the warm pad. Let's say I want to duplicate this again, only this time I'm going to go ahead and use some brass. Let's use a muted trumpet. And then I'm going to go in really close, and I'm going to pull this just a little bit off. Did that work? Yes, it did. Okay, and then we don't want this all right in the middle, so pull off the muted trumpet off to one side and the warm pad, synth pad, off to the other side. The pad left, the trumpet right. And this needs to go on its own channel. Let's say I want to add some more percussion in here. Let's go ahead and do that. Standard, only this time I'm going to go with steel drums. And of course that needs to go on its own channel. Simple. Let's drop the tempo down. Beats per minute. Sounds a bit menacing, just a little bit. Take it up. And we can do something like going in and say we've got techno here, some drum loops. Let's see if I can find me a kick loop. Okay, so we've got a dance beat here. Pull the volume on that down some. creation, but within the space of doing this video for you, I have created an interesting, if odd, dance track. Or, slow it down a lot. Completely different now. So there's absolutely no limits to what you can do when you combine something like simple loops, add in some percussion of your own, you know, start with a bass like the kick groove, this kick hat, okay, which is just a kick and a hi-hat, alright, and then you layer in some more percussion of your own using MIDI, you create a melody in the MIDI, and you can go all sorts of places with it. So it took me a long time to kind of graduate into using MIDI because it is a hell of a lot more time consuming to create anything worthwhile in MIDI than just using loops, but it's one of those things, once you get into it, you kind of see the limitations of what you were doing before, and you kind of go, oh. So definitely get into MIDI as soon as you feel comfortable messing with it, because I mean, you can come up with some pretty cool stuff. I'll go ahead and save this as something. I'll show you one that I've done recently. It's not perfect, but I kind of achieved what I was aiming for, which is pretty much the whole thing is in MIDI except for loop down here, and it's called Tarantula, and I tried to go for a it's an album I'm working on, and it's called Year of the Spider, just an idea that popped into my head. I've mentioned it on another video, and I had the idea of doing a tarantula song, and then I thought tarantella. I had heard the term before. I had to look it up to remember exactly what it meant. It is kind of a traditional Italian dance music, so I kind of went for a tarantella style for the tarantula, or tarantula. So this is kind of what it sounds like.